Why does civic sense breaks down a country that is rapidly modernizing, digitalizing, and building world-class infrastructure? Is it a culture? Is it a mindset? Or is it something deeper, something structural? Today, let us discuss about that. We are unpacking a question that sounds simple on the surface, but exposes a much bigger governance reality underneath. Civic sense. Spitting, littering, traffic indisciplines, misuse of public spaces, fraud, scams. These are often discussed as a personal habit. But what if they are not? Basically, just not a habit at all. What if they are outcomes of a system that quietly shapes behavior every single day? And this is the point where our story begins today. India records some of the highest road accidents, fatalities around the world, and estimates from the transport authorities like Ministry of Road Transport and Highway National Crimes, basically a bureau consistently highlighting a tragic pattern. Hundreds and thousands of crashes every single year, and a large share involving young, working-age citizens. But there's a contradiction. It is not only about a bad behavior, it is about the unsafe roads, weak enforcement, and inconsistent accountability, and that changes everything. Because when systems fail repeatedly, behavior adapts that failure. Speed limits become suggestions, helmet rules become optional, and signals that some rules are just negotiable. And over time, this disorder becomes normal even when you leave the country. However, this is the only one part of the picture. The second crisis is waste. India generates a massive volume of municipal solid waste every day. And these stats are reported widely by agencies like the Central Pollution Control Board. But a large share remains unused, undigested, and improperly processed. Well, because the citizens do know what better, but because the collection systems are uneven, inconsistent, and often invisible in the functioning. And yet, cities where the systems are stable, something interesting happens. Let's just take the example of a city in India, Indore. Often ranked among India's cleanest cities in national surveys, not because citizens suddenly become different, but because the collection, enforcement, and feedback loops become predictable. And this is not just about the cleanliness, it is about trust and trust in the system. Because civic sense grows when people believe in their behavior that it actually matters when the waste is collected daily, segregation becomes more meaningful, and then, when the violations are punished consistently, rules gain weight. Well, when streets are maintained, people hesitate to damage them. But now comes the major point. Public spaces in many Indian cities have become what urban researchers call a low accountable commons, a space where responsibility is shared but not owned. And in such environments, psychology shifts. People assume that someone else will fix it, or no one will ever. So the incentive to behave properly drops, and the disorder multiplies, and yet blaming individuals alone misses the structural loop. Because civic behavior is not just taught, it is reinforced, it is ignored, or it brings us to the education. Well, most civic infrastructure remains in the school theories, but evidence from the urban explanations show a very different pattern. When children participate in real civic sense audits, cleanliness drives, and neighborhood monitoring, the behavior change extends beyond the classrooms into home, into the neighborhoods, into cities and countries. And that is majorly missing inside India, and that is why Indians behave like this even abroad. Now the norms shift, but there is the uncertainty. These efforts remain fragmented, not scaled, not institutionalized, and that is the gap. Now the added enforcement in the equation. Inconsistent penalties weak the difference. Occasional drives create temporary fear, but not the long-term change. What works is predictability, visible consequences, and a fair environment, a fair enforcement, and systems that apply equally. Without that, rules become symbolic instead of structural. And so we arrive at the critical conclusion. Civic sense is not a moral problem, it is infrastructure problem. It is the governance problem, and it is a system problem. And yet, it is so deeply personal because the citizens interact with these systems every single day. So, the real question is, why civic sense is lacking? And real question is, what kind of system constantly produces that outcomes? And tonight, as India builds faster roads, bigger cities, and denser urban spaces, the uncertainty remains. Will behavior change first, or will the system finally catch us up?